Good morning. I just wanted to welcome everyone to All Souls Day. And I wanted to say that we truly do want to welcome you. No matter who you are or where you come from, we welcome you. Yet, whether you've been a long-time member or this is the first time and we've ever walked through these doors, we welcome you. Yet, whoever you love or loves you, we welcome you. Yes, no matter the color of your skin, your hair, or even your toenails, we welcome you. Yet, no matter where you were born or what your immigration status is, we welcome you. Yet, no matter what faith you have or don't have, we welcome you. Yet, I just wanted to call out for the announcements. Please check your inserts. Particularly the very top one, and about the annual meeting. I'll let you read those. Is there any other announcements that need to be made today? All right. Seeing none, we'll hear more beautiful music from Carol. That's our prelude. Thank you, Carol. Always beautiful. Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm Steve Nessheim, by the way, if you don't know who I am. Anyway, we're now going to do our chalice lighting. Kevin has been our designated fire bringer. Holy and beautiful, the custom that brings us together in the presence of the Most High, to face our ideals, to remember our loved ones in absence, to give thanks, to make confessions, to offer forgiveness, to be enlightened, and to be strengthened. Through the quiet hour breeze, the worship of ages, the cathedral music of history. 3 unseen guests attend, faith, hope, and love. Let us all our hearts prepare them a place. And that's by Robert French Levins. Now, if you will do our first song, which will be in the Blue Teal book, 1064, Blue Boat Home. Now we come to time of the story for all ages. Oh, hey, I'm glad someone's on. 728, the first reading. Thank you. Yes. See, you guys are just a smart bunch. I appreciate that. Yes. I will read the standard text, and you guys can read the italicized text. I will read along with you just so it gets picked up on the YouTube and recording. So, yes. Blessed are those who yearn for deepened, more than escape, who are not afraid to grow in spirit. Blessed are those who take seriously the bonds of communication, who regularly join in celebration and learning, who come as much as to be ministers unto. Blessed are those who bring their children, who invite their friends to come along, to join in fellowship, service, learning, and growth. Blessed are those who support the children and works saint and generous giving, and gives those no less than their money. Blessed are those who know that the church is often imperfect, yet rather than harbored feelings of anger or disappointment, bring their concerns and needs to the attention of church leaders. Blessed are those who, when asked to serve, do it gladly, who realize that change is brought out till the end. Blessed are those who speak their minds in meetings, who can take and give criticisms, and who keep alive their sense of humor. Are those who know that the church is transporting and have a vision of transitions and the not shrink, foresee, sacrifice, or change. Blessed they indeed. Okay, thank you. All right. Now, if assuming I haven't skipped anything else, it will be the story of all ages. Do we have any children? Okay, we have some child at heart. So I'm gonna call an audio and change things up slightly. So since we have no children, I wanted to talk about one of the famous stories, and this will be odd coming from an atheist, but I want to tell a story that Jesus talked about. You know, it's when a man came up to him and said, "What is the most important things to do?" And Jesus said, "Love God and love your neighbor." And the man and said, "Well, I can do that, but who exactly is my neighbor?" And then Jesus told the story of the Good Samaritan. I think we all are familiar with the story. And because of that story, when we hear Samaritan, we think of a good person. Heck, I work for the Good Samaritan Society. Yes. But when his audience heard it and heard Samaritan, they did not hear, "Oh, this is a good person." They heard, "This is an icky foreigner, a Latino, a Muslim refugee, someone who didn't worship like they did." And God said, or Jesus said, "You need to love him. Love just like that." Doesn't matter or what their nationality is. It doesn't matter what their beliefs are. Because that Samaritan, he didn't worship like the Jews did. He wasn't a Jew. So, the next time you hear the Good Samaritan story, I challenge you. Substitute Samaritan for some oppressed group right now. Yes. And think how Jesus would tell that story if he told it today in America. Okay, so now back to the regularly scheduled script, which I'm following so closely. Let's go ahead and sing our hypothetical children out. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere you may go. Next, we're going to have one of my favorite parts about our service. We always have an opportunity for people to come up and express both joys and concerns and share them with everyone. Because a joy shared is multiplied, and a concern shared is a concern lifted. I have both a joy and a concern. My wife has been scheduled for hip replacement surgery in about 2.5 weeks. So we're excited about that, but a little bit nervous. That's if anyone, if you have anything, please come up. Try to be brief because we're all a bunch of talkers, and including me. Yeah, it's anyone else have any joys or concerns?
Good morning. I'm Allan, and glad to be here. Those of you that don't know me, I'm the part-time minister, and want to put in a stone of support and gratitude for my wife Janine, who's on day 13 of her recovery from total knee replacement, and it's going well. One of the biggest challenges is getting her to use the walker when she feels like she could walk around the house without it. We're going to try to walk around the block today, but she's really being a trooper with the exercises, which you're supposed to do faithfully, you know, every day, and she's doing it. So thankful for that.
Hi, my name is Rebecca. Kind of a joy and concern all wrapped into one. Was it Thursday? Our daughter was in a car accident. She's 15 and she's been driving on her own for less than 3 months, but she was rear-ended on the highway and totaled the car. And our joy is that she didn't have any injuries. Couple of small bruises and some achiness, but it could have been a lot worse. My joy is also that she knew what to do. She pulled to the side of the road and kept control, and she didn't panic, and she did exactly the right thing. And that's always something you worry about with teens on the road. So that's my joy, is that that didn't turn out worse. And my concern is that now we have 2 teenagers who need vehicles.
This should have been part of the announcement, but today is Pride in the Park. And so those of us that are part of Pride, which is the LGBTQIA 25 plus population, to go out to any state or national park and go and enjoy yourself, have a picnic, and just be a part of nature, and go on a hike or whatever. Take a snap with yourself in it, and with the hashtag Pride in the Park. So that's a good deal. And my other joy is my nephew Andrew is learning how to drive a car, so that'll be a bit of a challenge. He's 14 years old, and he's in the process of learning how to do that. So I hope and pray that he'll do well, and doesn't have to make his grandparents or parents worry or anything. So thank you.
And going with a recurring theme, this stone's for my wife who had hip repair surgery about 10 days ago, and she's doing okay, but she's dismayed that she won't be able to spend her teacher summer doing the things that she really wants to be doing.
Hi, I'm Scott. And speaking of wonderful wives, mine has had the tummy shrunk, and she's doing magnificently. It's been as good as the best textbook could go, and she's losing weight like crazy. I guess I would say this is not as much a concern as it is an adventure. I spent 2 times in the last week at the emergency room with high blood pressure, bouncing around 200 over 140 or something like that. It's not as good as my dad. He went 300 over 240. About this time of his age, too. But so I'm trying to get that under control again, and try to figure out what to do next.
I'm really happy. We're happy at our house because Jeannie was scheduled to have major surgery on her back about a week and a half or so ago. But somewhere around Easter, her pain kind of started to go away, and she's gotten up and she's been getting around quite a bit better and doing all the normal things that people that don't have serious back pain do, and so we decided not to have the surgery, at least for now.
Hi, I had a momentary concern and then a joy. The other day, I came home, parked my car in the driveway after noticing some dandelions that I needed to dig. So I opened the garage door, went into the garage, and I heard a little bit of just kind of an odd sound, like something on gravel. And I looked, and my car was rolling down the driveway toward my contractor's trailer, which was parked a little bit into the driveway. And so my joy was that I caught up with the car, opened the door, and pulled on the emergency brake, and there was no disaster. Also, as I mentioned, I have a contractor at my house redoing my basement. I have a piano that we bought when my daughter was taking lessons. And Carol was kind enough to come over and look at the piano the other day. It does need a little work. But the big thing is, I can't have the piano in my basement anymore because of the vinyl plank flooring. They have recommended not putting it on the flooring. So the flooring project is at a standstill until I find someone who may be interested in hiring professionals to get this thing out of my basement. They can have the piano if they would like it. So,
I want to say that I went to look at this piano. It's a Cable Nelson Spinet. And I remembered that when I started piano lessons in the 3rd grade, this is the kind of piano I started with, and I had that piano for over 40 years before I traded it in on a grand piano.
Thank you, everyone who shared. Now we're going to take a moment of silence to compliment what people have said, and also to think about the unexpressed joys and concerns. Okay, enough silence, let's sing. Please turn to page 299 and make channels for the streams of love. our second reading, and you guys get off easy. It's all on me. 508. Save us from weak resignations to violence. Teach us that the restraint is the highest expression of power. That thoughtfulness and tenderness are the mask of the strong. Help us to love our enemies, not by contradicting their sins, but remembering our own. Yes. And with that, I'm going to turn this over to our great leader and good friend, Allan.
Thank you, Steve. First, a word of thanks to everyone who helped get ready for the annual meeting. Some of you were working overtime just before the service, or maybe still working during the service with some of the logistic details. I haven't heard any loud cries from the office area, but probably a muttered swear word here and there. So, on that subject, yeah, we're all human. Several years ago, when I was no longer in Lutheran ministry, I was occasionally asked if I missed doing that work, and I would often reply, I don't miss the politics. Since churches are made up of people, inevitably there will be differences of opinion and power struggles and conflict and disappointment. It's part of the human condition. Even here at All Souls, however hard we try to avoid being too church-like, we will not be immune to the darker side of human organization. Our 7 principles and 6 values, which are on the back of your program, and are worth reflecting on every time we come, even though they're the same every time. They give guidance for meeting the challenges that we face. As long as we keep these before our eyes, our differences can become learning opportunities, and even our conflicts can be catalysts for growth in tolerance, patience, humor, and compassion with everyone involved. Thankfully, we have enough diversity among us to accomplish the various responsibilities that are involved in the business side of our All Souls family. From property upkeep to making coffee, from managing a budget to caring for children, from communications technology to whatever you might fill. The list goes on and on. That list is meant to be only illustrative and not exhaustive. So even though I am a lay minister and not a UU minister, I do appreciate what our national UUA has to offer in terms of resources, training, networking with others, guidance for problem solving, and that list can go on and on too. The person at the regional office, some of you know, others have heard him or met him, the regional office in St. Paul, and his name is Phil Lund. And some of you may know that Phil is retiring at the end of this month. So we'll have a new person to relate to at the Midwest regional office in the future. But I would like to share just a little bit of a story. He has a gathering that he arranges by Zoom a couple of times a month called Small Congregation Check-In, and so I have participated in that. So it's for other smaller congregations like ours in this upper Midwest region, so from Minnesota to Illinois and various other places. But anyway, last week there was an additional gathering of a different group of people, people like myself who are not UUA authorized ministers, and there were about 7, I think, of us in that little gathering. And what I want you to know is that as we checked in and told a little bit about ourselves and our congregations, Phil asked me to mention specifically a couple of things which he had heard about, and really wanted me to uplift those 2 events that we had because of the success we had with public relations. The one was last fall when we hosted an author at the university, Augustana University, named Achut Deng, and brought out a crowd of about 175 people to hear her. And someone commented that that was the biggest event that All Souls has had in recent memory. So that was the one, and then the other one was the Death Cafe, which we had, and Phil was really impressed too that we had the courage to do that on a Sunday morning, and that it was so successful and so well received, and that it brought in a couple of first-time visitors that day too. So anyway, it was nice to have that little affirmation of what we're doing here among that group of ministers that I met with online. So I want to thank all of you for being here today to take part in our annual business meeting, and a special thanks to all of you who have cast your ballot for the decision regarding the house that we own. As you know, we need 80% participation for the election to be valid, so we may need to do some reminding to reach this threshold, but hopefully not. So that's kind of the business of the church, which is the first portion of my title. Now, busyness. Another interesting word. I have come to view busyness as a condition of 21st century life that is one of the greatest threats that we face, threatening our health, our relationships, and our awareness of our deepest and most authentic self. Like me, you may have been taught as a child that idle hands are the devil's workshop. And as a result, we've come to believe that being busy is a virtue in itself. But I don't believe that anymore. And so I have to unlearn that ancient memory in my mind from my mother. Being busy, being easily distracted by trivia or mediocrity or mindless activity can pull us away from our deepest self and pull us away from our highest aspirations. And so let us not be caught up in the maelstrom of activity for activity's sake. With this in mind, I consider one of my responsibilities here at All Souls is to run interference for your benefit. What I mean by that is, as a church, we receive any number of requests for financial support from nonprofits far and near, which are very deserving. We hear from musicians who would like to perform for us during their summer tour in this part of the country. We get emails from the UUA with programs and speakers and conferences and Zoom calls offering inspirational education and motivation and so on. And so as I think about all this offer of stuff to do, I'm just thinking about the stage in life that I'm at. And so I think some of you might be able to relate to this. In our earlier years, when we were younger, we may have often experienced FOMO. That's F-O-M-O, fear of missing out. Because we don't want to miss out on something that might be really fun. But over time, as we mature and as we sift through what's out there and sift through our own experience and our memories and our values, often we've been there and done that. And so now once in a while we start to experience JOMO, joy of missing out. Have you ever built for something and you signed up or you made plans and you put it on your calendar, and then later on something else came up so you didn't have to go, or maybe it got canceled or whatever, and you felt relief? That's JOMO, joy of missing out. New phrase that I just heard this week. So, for many of us, there's really no need for more on our schedule. The pace of modern life, the myriad causes of stress, the distractions of the electronic world, all conspire to take us away from our center and throw us off balance. So we need our time here in this sanctuary to be a sanctuary. A time for our experience of All Souls to be an opportunity for refreshment, and replenishment and rejuvenation, and not one more stressor in our lives. At the same time, the business of the church needs doing. And so in the spirit of President Kennedy, so many decades ago, I invite you to consider not just what All Souls can do for you, but also what you can do for all souls. For our church to function effectively, your leaders, including myself, need to be able to ask you to do stuff. And I like to say that we should be able to ask you for anything based on what this organization needs. And you need to be able to accept or decline the request based on your own best judgment of what you can and cannot do willingly and cheerfully. You set your own boundaries. Now, a word about the vote. One of my favorite stories from contemporary Buddhist world is the story of some monks who happen to be soccer fans. You might have heard this story before. And so they asked their superior for permission to use the modern technology of television to watch the World Cup. And so the superior paused for a long moment, and then after some uneasy silence, he said, "You may watch the World Cup, but you must not show any emotion." So, in that vein, my best suggestion for maintaining harmony in our congregation as we prepare for the results of the vote that's being taken is the Buddhist concept of non-attachment. Non-attachment to the results. Strong reasons have been made on both sides of the issue, and people have strong feelings. There's a lot of history. There's financial concerns, and the list goes on and on. But regardless of the outcome, all souls will go on. And so that's number one. And that's meant to be the message of the cover of your program today. The sign for all souls is in the foreground, and the house is in the background. And that's meant to suggest where our priorities are. Whichever way you voted, I urge a double measure of respect and kindness and compassion for everybody in the coming weeks, and especially for anyone who may have voted for the side that lost. We need to be kind to each other. On a personal note, I want to say that how much I enjoy being your minister. I guess I don't say that very often. Maybe it's one of those things that you think should go without saying, but that's kind of like telling your spouse that I told you when we got married that I love you, and if you change your mind, if I change my mind, I'll let you know. But no, it needs to be said often. I really do love this congregation and my work here. And I have a day job during the week, but that's my day job. But my passion is here with all souls. And if that ever ceases to be true, I trust that I'll recognize it and be able to do something about it, find a way to graciously and gracefully step back. And I could also probably need a kick in the pants if I don't recognize it. But in any case, I do thankfully, joyfully, willingly serve as your minister. And I trust that that will continue for a long time. So I'd like to conclude with kind of a little litany. So I'm going to say a sentence, and I'll hold my hand up, and that's your cue to say, "May it be so." May we always speak the truth in love. May it be so. May we maintain healthy boundaries. May it be so. May we work cheerfully and avoid passive-aggressive behavior. May it be so. May we continue to live continue to live the 7 principles and 6 values 7 days a week. May it be so. May it be so indeed.
Thank you, Allan. And I just want to say I personally love having you as our minister and love you as a person. Even if you did steal my sheet, so yes. Now we're gonna have our offering. Yeah, that's because obviously, as much as this place runs on love, we still have bills to pay, and half of our loose offering every week goes to a different charity. This week we're supporting the Lutheran Social Services. Obviously, there's been a huge amount of cuts in grants and stuff, so half the offering will go to that. Thank you, Carol. Let's do the words of the offering. We give these gifts freely. We receive these gifts gratefully. We dedicate our gifts to the work of our congregation, serving human wholeness, caring for our planet, upholding religious freedom, welcoming the stranger, loving one another. Now we're going to do our third reading, 733. Actually, it's the last reading in our book. Hope there's nothing symbolic about that. It's a place of meeting. Again, I'll read the standard text, and you guys can chime in with the italicized. Out of wood and stone, out of dreams and sacrifice, the people built a home. Out of the work of our hands and our hearts and minds, the people fashioned a symbol and a reality. May this house be truly a place of meeting, meeting one another in warmth and joy and openness, meeting another in courage and love and trust. May all who enter here trust one another so surely that they dare to share the deep fires that burst into anger, as much as the sweet spring waters that shall swell into laughter, the slow erosion of wounded tears as much as the soaring song. May these walls hold silence as the 100 hearts search inward, each with its own spark of hope. May otherwise be snuffed out into noise. May the rafters hear the voice of the child as surely as that of the orator, and the sound of the lute, the clank of the typewriter, the swish of the broom, and to know that all are holy. He has in the shout of a million stars. May the rain fall lightly on this house. The sun shine warmly, the winds blow softly, and blessed is a place of joy and peace. And now we went from the very last reading to the very first song. Page number 1. Hopefully you can all find that one. If not, we have some reading classes for you. May nothing evil cross this door. The chalice is extinguished, but the light goes out with us into the world. It's after Carol plays the postlude, we're going to have some time for our coffee, and we'll have our meeting immediately afterwards. So please jump.